welcome back to No Sabemos Pero Opinamos. I'm Jessica.
And I am Martha. Thank you for joining us for episode number 4. We're glad you're here with us again.
I want to thank everybody for joining us and following us and all the support we've been receiving, Marta. Would you agree?
Yes, I agree. I'm very excited to hear your guys' opinion, and I hope you're enjoying our podcast.
We're on Amazon, YouTube,
and
Apple Podcasts. We started our TikTok. We're on Instagram. So everybody who's been following us, I really appreciate you. And today's episode, because of the season, let's talk about graduation season, Marta.
Órale, vamos a hablar de graduación. I think it's such an interesting subject, Jessica.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially for us Latinos. You know, some of the struggles that we go through and the lack of guidance that maybe we have in our schools, or just because we're the first generation in the United States, that sometimes we're not very much aware of all the benefits and all the resources that are out there. So I think it's important. What do you think, kiddo?
Absolutely. I think that it warms my heart to see, obviously, not only people in my family graduate, but I see, we're scrolling on TikTok, all those great videos of the Latinos graduating, and not just, high school and their undergrad, but going as far as getting their doctorate. Like, it makes me proud for them, and I don't even know them.
Absolutely. So es un orgullo tener latinos educados por su profesión que escogen. Es un paso tan grande que aquí en Estados Unidos estamos tomando, y ojalá que sigamos así, que inspiremos a la juventud joven que estudien, que se abran paso, y como dicen, todo se puede y sí se puede. Adelante.
Absolutely. Yeah. Y no nomás queremos ser los primeros, creo que queremos que se repita una y otra vez con muchos, no nomás nosotros que fuimos una de las primeras. Es importante que...
Yeah, but I wanna, before we go any further, I wanna congratulate aquí mi amiga Jessica. Tiene una hija que acaba de graduar de la escuela, so congratulations.
Oh, thank you. High school.
No
Pero
importa,
proud mom.
es adelante. She's going to a university.
Yeah, she's off to Eastern Michigan University in the fall. Also, mi sobrino, el hijo de mi hermana, el mayor, he graduated from the University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana last weekend. Super proud of him. He actually spent todo un año in Alemania last year when we went to go visit him. So he's the first in terms of los primos. So hopefully he's an inspiration for my daughter and, the rest of our children acá de mi familia, because it's not easy. It's not easy.
No, it's not. It's a very difficult road to get the opportunity to go to school, because there's a lot of discouragement, and not to get too serious, but sometimes it's the language barrier. It's very hard. Our parents perhaps didn't have the high school or the opportunity to go to further their education, and so they gave us the opportunity and the platform to come to the United States and to open up that door, and we should take advantage of that. We should take advantage of it. That there's financial aid, there's different resources that will help us to start. And of course we always get in debt a little bit with the education, but if we really want it, it's really well worth it.
What was your career path in terms of schooling? ¿Cómo pasó?
Well, I didn't know English, that's for sure. I had to learn English as a very young girl. And at home, we only spoke Spanish, so that made it very confusing. Finally, when I got to high school, I already knew how to speak English. And then I was very eager to learn about literature. And my counselor forced me to take bilingual classes, and I was so confused because that was beyond already what I went through as a young girl. So I missed out on my literature classes, and I didn't learn what I really wanted to learn. So I felt like that put me behind a little bit. And then when I was graduating, my counselor would not help me to get into a university. I had two great friends that helped me out and encouraged me. And I applied for a lot of things that I don't even remember, but I know I remember getting 2 scholarships, one a 4-year scholarship in one university and the other one a 2-year scholarship. But at that time, my parents did not allow me to go to school away from home. I guess it's based on culture. I don't know. But I wasn't allowed to. And so I ended up going to a community college. I graduated from there with a science degree because I originally wanted to be a nurse. So I went through some uneventful things that happened in my life, and I wasn't able to pass my nursing test. So then I just needed to continue my education. It was either social work, and the one that I always wanted to do was anthropology, and so that's where I got my degree in anthropology. Pero ya de grande, you know. So it was hard. It was a struggle, but I was very proud. And I'm the first generation here in the United States, so I'm the first person in my family to receive my bachelor's in anthropology.
Do your other siblings have bachelors?
No.
You're the only one out of your siblings.
Yeah, I'm the only one. And it's exciting. I feel proud because it was a great struggle. A lot of things happened in between, but no perdí la mira. You know, I really wanted to
achieve
it, and I did. And then so then I started. You know, I've always worked, so then I thought that with my degrees that I would have more opportunities to grow in a work, to be, you know, a leader, to help others achieve and help them grow in their position. And unfortunately, it doesn't happen that quick.
Right.
You know, so it's been a struggle.
So in all your time you were in school, community college, and then to the university, you were working.
Oh yeah, I was working. I forgot the most important thing. I was a single mother of 2 young kids.
Wow.
And I worked full time, and I went to school full time. And then I also worked a part-time job. How I did it, I have no clue. I don't know, but I did it.
Salimos locas pero intactas.
Sí, I did it. Yeah. Because, ¿sabes qué? Ahora veo y digo, oye, how did I do that? You know, I must have had a lot of desire to achieve it, to become a scholar. And so, yeah, I don't know. I'm so, and then on top of that, my daughter was in school with me.
Yeah.
So she graduated a year after I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you first started community college, did you have your parents' support financially?
No.
No.
No, I paid all that.
You did?
I paid all that, and then this is embarrassing, but I would go every semester to see what classes I needed to take, and they kept giving me classes and giving me classes. I graduated from a community college with 92 or 96 credits. Que ya casi era una bachelor's.
Yeah, ya casi 120 is
yeah.
the bachelor's.
Yeah, and they never told me to stop.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to if you know somebody who's gone through some, you know, gone to school, or you feel like you're a little not that as knowledgeable on how to go about it, talk to someone, a mentor. Pick up a mentor that you can trust. You know, I always tell the young people, I'm here to help and guide you and encourage them to go to school. Because the reason I'm saying this is because, like I said, I graduated with 92, 96 credits. Can you imagine that? If I would have kept doing that, I would have never graduated.
Never.
I would have been making that school filthy rich.
Just spending your money on no final degree of any sort.
None at all. So I was pretty upset about that. but it was my fault. I don't know if it was my fault, but I think it was like,
well, I think that's a struggle of a first gen person. Like, you don't know. Sometimes you don't know.
Yeah, and so it's really, it was hard. It doesn't make me angry. It just makes me like, oh my God, how can other people be so cool and not help a young person with ambition to succeed? So, but once I got to the university, by then I was a little bit more savvy about education, and I was offered to go into the Latino program, and I refused to. Not because I didn't want to learn about the Latinos or the opportunities we had. It was because I felt like I was an American, and I felt like I could do everything anybody else could do without having to go into a special program.
Like, you felt like you were getting like pigeonholed into something.
Yeah, and I didn't want to do that. I think because I am first generation, I'm pretty much aware of my culture, and it's so easy to learn about your culture if you really want to. I don't feel we need that much guidance for that, because our parents and our families continue to carry our traditions, and we celebrate certain things. We keep our families very dear, so those are the things that at least that's how I looked at it.
And as Latinos, I think that we need to have presence in other things. And a lot of other things, or else they're not gonna give us the position that we deserve.
Yep. Example, when I was in high school, I think I was in my junior year or something, and they put me in an ESL classes.
Yeah.
I was not able to learn literature. I felt cheated.
You were being held back.
Yeah, I was cheated. I was being pulled back. That's why I think why I was so determined. Like, I had to do what I wanted to do the way I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Because I believed in myself. I believed in what I could do. I know it was a struggle. It was a great struggle. Not to say that I'm super smart, because I'm not, but I did it the way I wanted to, and nobody can tell me, oh, that's because you went to a Latino program or something to that effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about yours, Jessica.
Well, education was always in the forefront in our house. My mom and dad always said que la escuela, la escuela, la escuela. Desde chiquitos. Like the goal of my parents coming to this country is to give their kids the best position possible, right? La mejor oportunidad de todo. So I always had my parents support in verbal support, porque ya que me ayuden con la tarea, o que se sentaran conmigo a hacer matemáticas, no, eso ya no, eso no pasaba. Ellos ya, te estamos pagando tus estudios, pero que se sentaran conmigo, like quiz me and shit, I mean, eso ya eso es otra cosa. That fell solely on me. I went to a very good high school called Trinity High School out in River Forest, Illinois, de puras mujeres, Catholic school. Creo que de ahí salí muy preparada para lo que me esperaba en la universidad. Pero again, like, I had to do the FAFSA on my own. I had to figure out my schedule on my own. Like, it's not like I could rely on my parents to do those things, desde muy chiquita uno empieza a hacer aplicaciones and registrations and all of that crap on your own as a first gen person. We're translating for our parents at a very young, like, it's responsibilities that fall on us to try to help them. So I was always, quick with all of that. I ended up going to Michigan State University, and I got my bachelor's in Go Green. And I got as I said in episode 1, I got my degree in agribusiness because, I come from an agriculture family. So I always thought, initially I wanted to be a veterinarian. Pero ya estando en la escuela, I was like, oh, me gusta más this business side of things. So then I went into the business side of things, and I ended up getting my degree in that, and I graduated. My parents siempre me hicieron, mientras estar en la escuela, nosotros les pagamos todo. So my parents financially always assisted in that way. I think that it was very hard to go from living on the outside of Chicago going to East Lansing, Michigan. I think that it was like a culture shock for me. Y luego más lo que estudié, like agribusiness. Era puro ranchero güero, like puro... Like, no había ninguna otra mexicana in my field at that moment. Ahorita veo fotos, because I follow Michigan State on different things. And I love seeing todos los Latinos que van, you know? Pero cuando yo me fui ahí, it was, like, rough. Like, yo le llamaba a mi mamá. I was like, Mom, me quiero ir llorando. Like ya no hallaba mi lugar there. Yeah. You know?
Like, you didn't fit in?
No.
Yeah.
No. I was obviously not American enough para los güeros. Yeah. Y luego había Latinos. There's Michigan State has a big migrant program. Okay. Hijos of migrant workers, like that come from Texas, Florida, even from places of Michigan. Ya ves que vienen seasonal workers and things like that. But I wasn't like that Mexican for them because I wasn't a migrant worker. My parents are not migrant workers, you know? Yeah. Y luego a lot of people, the other thing is like those Mexicanos que vienen from like Texas or like northern Michigan, like son como like what we call like, you know, tejanos que hablan más inglés y que escuchan, you know, más música tejana. And I wasn't like into that either. Yeah. So it was hard to find my group when I went to college. Yeah. And I didn't do the greatest. Honestly, I didn't do the greatest that first year. I struggled a lot. Like it was a culture shock. Like I come from predominantly Caucasian schools, but I always lived with my family y los amigos y todos eran mexicanos, and I lived on the outsides of Chicago donde todo mundo habla español. Hay un chingo de restaurantes mexicanos, hay bailes mexicanos. You go to East Lansing, Michigan, no hay nada, ni siquiera un taco spot para ir a recordar un taco de asada or like. Y al último encontré some little club out in Lansing que se llamaba Lucky's y I think they ended up shooting up the place. Y ahí, my roommate y ya paramos de ir. But I think that's what I found the hardest. Yeah. I found the hardest. And that's something that I see with my daughter ahora que ya va a empezar in the fall to go to college. Like, mi hija no tuvo que hacer the FAFSA form on her own. Yeah. Hace poquito, we had a meeting with her advisor. We picked all her classes. I went on her website. She didn't have to do any of that alone.
Oh, it's good, though. She got you, but I understand that that's the beauty is like but I'm glad that we are there for our children. And that's what I'm saying is that we should be there for each other as mentors, for our family, for our children, but also for younger Latinos, because it is a struggle. I wouldn't want somebody to go through what we went through. You know, it's sometimes it's really hard. I used to cry too, Jessica. Yeah. I used to cry because I didn't understand. I mean, I spoke English and everything, but I wasn't able to express myself like I wanted to. And that was very difficult for me. You know, I was stuck in English and in Spanish. I was going back and forth. It was hard, but, you know, like you said, it's an awesome experience.
No, y luego de que iba a terminar. Like, my parents, los dos trabajaban en fábricas, you know what I mean? Like, like they had hard work to send us all, like, mis hermanos y a mí, like, it's difficult. Like, there was no other option for me other than to finish. Like, that was it.
Yeah, you didn't want to let them down.
Imagínate.
I know.
Imagínate.
I know, yeah. Yeah, that's hard. I didn't want to let my pocket down.
I was going to
pay. Yeah.
Well, aside from that, yo salí bien endrogada de la escuela, like bien endeudada.
Me too.
For years after graduation, which is another issue that's going on, you know, ahorita in the government and all that shit, because it's an arm and a leg to go to school. Pero honestly, like Latinos, lo tienen que hacer one way or another. Like, even if it's not a 4-year degree or, you know, maybe it's like a trade job. Maybe it's, pero something that you know that's going to.
A skill.
Something that's going to set you up for something in the future.
Absolutely.
No se queden atrás.
No. And don't forget, you know, let's not forget where we come from. And always give a hand to our fellow Latino, we need to help each other and unite together. I was looking up that back in, this is just a little bit of info. Back in the early 2000s, there was the increase of Latino graduate students was at 60%. Today, it is 80%.
Yeah.
So it's increased 20%. So that's an awesome thing that to see that and to know that we are becoming our names, Gonzalez, Martinez, these common names are coming up now, and they're filling positions that represent us and that understand our culture. It's so important that that we see our fellow friends and ethnicity group of people that we come from that are rising.
Yeah.
It's just no more an Anglo dominant professions. It's becoming diverse. So I think that's the most beautiful thing. We continue to press on and push forward, as Latinos.
Yeah.
And I can't even, I'm a person that would just love to meet with younger people and talk to them really about the struggles that maybe we don't express as young people what we're going through, because we don't want to be embarrassed or you don't want to be somebody pointing finger at you that, oh, you didn't know to do this or that, while other people it comes so easy. But we don't know. Like I said, my parents, we came here, and my dad worked, my mother never worked. It was 5 of us. It was a lot. But we made it through, and you just got to remember why you came here. You didn't come to take anybody's job. You came to be a better person and to grow, and for your next generation, your offsprings to grow and to be to have better opportunities that you did,
and to better every generation after us, or
absolutely.
after, like in my case, like after my parents. Like my parents have elementary school education, and all of us, it's 4 of us, we all have undergrads. My brother has a master's. My oldest sister has 3 masters.
Nice.
I mean, that's the goal of what they came here for.
Yeah.
Now imagine our next generation. Hopefully they're going to be even more better off than us 4.
Yeah, absolutely. We just got to make that, like they say, break that glass ceiling and come above, and make sure that we're known as educators as well as professionals. And like I said, don't ever forget where you come from, and remember, we can always mentor a young Latino that's just came and are trying to better themselves. Always give them a hand.
And then to keep in mind that not everybody has the same path, like graduating high school, go to school. A veces pasan cosas que they set you back, without you wanting that to happen. Pero I don't want people to lose focus on, it's never late to go back. It's never late to do something for yourself. It's never late to better yourself. Take that course. Find that better job. Go back to school if that's what you want. Pero always bettering ourselves, especially right now, con todo lo que está pasando, that they're meddling with the student loan system. They're meddling with the education system. They're, están metiendo mano everywhere.
Yeah.
And it feels like they're trying to hold us back. They're trying for us to not have some piece of that pie.
Right.
And we can't let it happen.
Nope. We cannot let it happen. We cannot allow it to happen. And the more powerful, and what did they say? That's the saying. Knowledge is power. The more we know, the less power they have, and the more we know, we're able to maneuver through whatever they may throw at us at that time. We just gotta keep focused. And you know what? It's true. My son didn't want to go to school after high school. He's doing okay. I've ever since he was a little kid, he was an entrepreneur. He would make cards and sell them in the kids' school. He had his T-shirt business, and then he ended up making a hoodie or a sweater. Well, I helped him, but he had a rapper wear it, and it's on YouTube. I don't know the rapper. He told me, but I don't remember. But you know, he has that mind in his. You know, he wants to do more than what he's doing right now, and that's okay too. You know, but like I said, strive, work, make your goals, make your dreams come true. It's okay to dream big. It's okay it's awesome when you reach them, and it's so satisfying to reach where you want to go. You know, it doesn't matter. Not everybody's made for school. Not everybody's made to sit behind a desk. You know, not everybody's for that. But I guess what I would like everyone to take from this conversation is don't give up. Y si se puede, adelante, todo adelante. You know?
And if you don't see somebody that resembles you at the main seat at that table, then maybe it's gotta be you.
You're right.
You gotta move towards that. And nuestra gente es luchona. ¿Cuánta gente viene aquí indocumentada? ¿Cuánta gente viene aquí, trabaja bien duro? ¿Cuánta gente ha llegado aquí sin nada y tiene negocios? ¿Cuánta gente ha hecho de algo de nada? De nada. Ahora imagínate nosotros que ya, o sea, que tenemos un poquito más que ellos sin haber llegado sin nada. Lo que podemos hacer es mucho. There's no limit. The sky's the limit. You know, and that's right. There's so many people. You know, a lot of people say, "Oh, restaurant business is such a commitment. It's so hard. It's, you know, this and that." But that's how we come. We come, we share our food. You guys turn every corner. There's no more too many hamburger joints. Ahora hay puros tacos. Aquí hay puro taco truck.
You know, our culture is so rich and so wanted by so many people, and that's great, you know. And with that, we can use that to build whatever we want in this country, because we have been here for a long time. So we should build ourselves, our families, our Latinos, you know, and always be mindful and respectful to the people, even if they're not Latinos, because we don't want to be like them. We don't want to be cruel. We don't want to be pendejitos.
We don't want them walking all over us.
Yeah, no, you know.
But we're kind people.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. We're very kind. And so, you know, just remember, you know, manners and respect and treating people with respect is important. But if they don't treat you that way, it's time to walk away and not get near those folks, because they're gonna break you. So, you know, and you are powerful. You're here to do the best you can in your education, and or in anything you want to do. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily need to be education. It could be anything. It could be a skill. It could be a carpenter, an electricianist, a plumber. You know, my father had a small construction company. You know, he did well. You know, and he came with nothing. He came with 5 kids. 5 kids and my mom, which total of 7 people, all on his back to make us to give us a better opportunity here. And so, you know, it can be done. It's just a lot of work, a lot of dedication.
Yeah. It depends how bad you want it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And es orgulloso, man, porque como dije al principio, no solo ver gente de mi familia like graduarse, right? Pero ver cualquier latino graduarse. Y entre más arriba se siente bonito ver a tu gente prosperar.
Eso sí, yeah. So it's nice to see that, and it's nice to hear that they graduate from school, whether it's high school, any program, you know.
Anything.
Yeah, get a certificate in something. Yeah, it's an honor. It's an honor.
Es bonito.
To see.
Es bonito. Like in terms of estudiar, es muy bonito estudiar. Like I hope to one day go back and get my master's, hopefully. It's something that, you know, maybe I see myself achieving one day. But for sure, right now, el enfoque va a ser en mi hija to try to push her and get her through her undergrad, because, you know, you and I know how difficult it is sometimes, that you see la meta is a little bit farther y difícil de llegarla, pero I think that having that support, hopefully it makes it easier for her to achieve it. Y que no se le haga tan difícil como se me hizo a mí.
Yeah, because it could get so hard. I remember, I think it was in my junior year, I wanted to quit. And I said, I can't. I'm too far off, almost to the end for me to quit. And I pushed, and I searched in my soul, like in what I wanted to do. And I pushed and I pushed and I made it through. And then my daughter went through the same thing. And she goes, Mom, I can't do it. And I go, no, you can do it. It's just part of the struggle of education. Because education is hard. They start you off así bien light, and then they throw it all on you.
They lay it on you.
Yeah, it's really hard. Yeah. No, y luego te ponen like que, you know, if you're like me, I used to get embarrassed and scared talk in front of people. I would just sweat. The world, and then the classroom I was teeter-tottering, you know. But be confident. You know, it can be done.
Yeah.
Pues,
bonita plática.
Sí.
Ahorita de lo que está pasando. Ahorita en graduation season, ahorita este mes de mayo, el mes de junio, a lot of graduations coming up. Así que si tienen un graduado, celebren con ellos. La victoria es muy bonito. Celébrenlos a ellos y échenles porras porque han hecho algo grande, creo yo. So, to all of our Latino graduates out there, we see you. You made it through a system that maybe wasn't built for us, pero you did it anyway. We did it anyway.
Yeah.
And don't let anybody tell you that it wasn't worth it, because it was. This is a victory for your family, your community, and most importantly, for you.
Absolutely.
Y when you have that education is one thing that nobody ever can take it away from you.
Yeah.
Never.
That's so true, Jessica.
Yeah. Any last words, Marta?
Mucho ánimo, es todo lo que puedo decir. Mucho ánimo y felicidades a todos los que van graduando este año y que vienen graduando el siguiente año, and so on. Mucho ánimo y mucha felicidad.
Y si hacen fiesta, llevan la banda. No se les olvide invitar a Jessica y a Marta. Yo llevo unas chelas. ¿Tú qué llevas, Marta?
Tequilazos.
Ahí les llegamos con su regalito, así que no aprieten. A Blogger, por favor, invítenos. Bueno, esto fue No Sabemos, pero opinamos. Espero que les haya gustado. Felicidades a todos nuevamente y nos vemos.
Adiós.